The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, Marshall Reddick investors, and thank you for joining us tonight for our webinar presentation on the Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Florida market, also including Lehigh Acres, but it's the only sad little city that's not included. I was trying not to make jokes in the first 30 seconds. Hopefully you guys laughed. Anyways, tonight we are going to be focusing on the Florida market for cash flow and appreciation. It's one of the few markets that really has strong potential for both, and it's one of our most popular investment markets, not only because of the excellent numbers and returns that we see down there, but also because we've got an excellent team in the market as well. So you really get the full package when you invest in the Cape Coral market. So let's hop right into it. My name is Christin Tabar. I am a real estate advisor and realtor here at Marshall Reddick Real Estate. So my role here is to work with our investors on not only working on their rental portfolio in one of our 16 markets for rentals, but also on their primary residences, purchasing and selling here in our local California market. Those adorable faces you see there on the screen are my kiddos, Justin and Cassie, and my husband and myself, of course. I'd like to add these because I feel like it gives you guys a little bit more information and kind of lets you get to know me a little bit better. So I'm not a total stranger when we speak later on. Wanted to take this opportunity also to do a quick sound check. If you guys can let me know if you can hear me, you can just type in the little question panel that you have. Just let me know that the audio's working and that you guys can hear and see everything okay. Definitely want to make sure that you don't miss anything as we go through the presentation. So moving right along, let's talk a little bit about who Marshall Reddick Real Estate is. For those of you who are joining us tonight, and it's your very first event, we are a fully licensed real estate brokerage, and we work here in our local California markets, as well as with teams across the U.S., including our team down in Southwest Florida. We're going to hear from our agent, Terry Duffy, and her husband, Ken Duffy, tonight. We also have a really strong management team down there as well. We won't hear from them, but we'll talk a little bit about their services also. We're also a private money lender and a property manager. So we manage property here in California for our clients who own locally, and our lending division offers the opportunity for not only our borrowers who are using their self-directed IRAs or LLCs to purchase property, but also for our investors who would like to invest in those mortgages and trust deeds. So we really are a one-stop shop, not only for our investment clients, but also for our primary buyers. In addition to the services we offer in-house, we also work with vendors across the nation, contractors, CPAs, insurance brokers, lenders, of course. Basically, it's everybody that our clients need to complete their real estate transaction from start to finish. All right, so hopping on down here, a little bit more about me. I'm not going to read right off the slide because I'm hoping that if you are on this webinar, you can read it yourself. But what I like to include is how I got started with Marshall Reddick Real Estate. And actually, my husband and our VP, Scott Pastel, went to high school together. And at their high school reunion a few years back, we all got to talking about what we've been up to these days. And my husband and I were looking at investing in real estate. Scott was a part owner at Marshall Reddick Real Estate at a company that did exactly what Jason and I were looking to do. And it was really a match made in heaven. So I've been an investor with Marshall Reddick for several years, and I got to start working then with the company that I had already purchased property with. So already had a rapport and a familiarity with the team, and it was really nice to kind of make that transition from being a client to an employee. So as part of that investment experience that I have, my husband and I have bought and sold property with Terry down in Florida. We're working on a project with her right now that we're going to close in a couple of weeks. And we actually get to travel down to the market and check things out with Terry in a couple of weeks. We get to meet the management team. And I'm looking forward to it because I've never been there. I've actually bought and sold property sight unseen. So it'll be an exciting opportunity for me to actually get to familiarize with a market that I sell property in and own property myself. So, all right, we're talking about Cape Coral tonight. Let's talk a little bit about how which markets we are currently investing in. So you guys can see here the map. Those darker gray states are areas where we have teams for you. Of course, tonight we're going to be talking about Fort Myers, Florida, and all the opportunity down there right now, not only currently, but also the growth that we expect to see over the course of the next several years. So you see the 16 markets that we're in. Now, how do we select these 16 markets and why do they stand out amongst other areas? There's 7 criteria that we look at when we select rental markets. And if you guys have been longtime Marshall Reddick clients, you know the last few years we've dropped some markets, we've started to include some new markets, and those changes are based on these criteria. So one is the job market. There's got to be a lot of jobs because we need our tenants to have employment so they can earn money, so they can pay rent. Everything kind of circles back to who are going to be your tenant base because we need paying people in our properties. As an investor myself, this is very important to me as well. So we need to make sure there's a strong job market. We want to see a low vacancy rate, not only within the property management company's portfolio, but also the market as a whole, because a low vacancy rate means high occupancy, and that's important for your rental. We want to see economic diversity. Again, this is going to circle back up to the job market. If you've got a strong, diverse job market, then you're likely to have a lot of different opportunities for your tenants to seek employment, which means they get a paycheck, which means they pay your rent. Housing affordability. This one's important not only from the standpoint of the investor, but also the standpoint of the tenant. We really want to make sure that the rents are not so outrageous that people can't afford to live in your property, but we also want to make sure that the purchase prices aren't so outrageous that we're not going to cash flow. So housing affordability really, we look at from both of those angles. Is the state landlord friendly? As a landlord myself, I want to make sure that the laws are on my side, and we definitely take that into consideration when we're looking at getting into new markets. We want strong education. Again, kind of circling back to the different criteria we've already talked about, an educated population turns into an educated workforce, turns into folks that are going to make money and pay your mortgage for you. So finally, we want reliable property management. This is particularly important, especially when you are a remote owner, which means you own property in a state that you don't live in. Even if you own property in a state that you do live in. You know, my full-time job is as an advisor, and I work with my clients full-time every day. The last thing I want to do is field calls from my tenants because their toilet's clogged or their garbage disposal isn't working. I want someone else to handle that for me. And so it's important for me that my management team is reliable and dependable and can get my tenants taken care of, make sure that repairs are made and maintenance calls are attended to, and that they're keeping my property in good condition so that when I want to sell it, I'm not looking at so much deferred maintenance from a management company that didn't do anything. So we know that the Cape Coral market fits these requirements. So now what? Now we look at the individual criteria. So now we've selected a market, we know what Cape Coral has to offer us, we know it fits a certain overall criteria for strong rental markets. Now we're going to look at our personal criteria. So what is our investment goal? Are we looking at income short-term to supplement our salaries? Are we looking at retirement in 10 years or 30 years? How much risk are we willing to take? What kind of financing can we qualify for, and how much can we qualify for? These are all questions that we ask our clients when we're trying to determine what type of property in the Cape Coral market is going to best suit their needs. So this is going to help us to kind of guide you towards whether it's that single family residence, is it a duplex, is it a C property, is it an A property? And this is also going to extend even into how many years are you planning on building your portfolio? How many properties per year? What is your overall outcome expectation as far as your income? So this property scale at the bottom, I want to explain this just a little bit for our new folks, because when we get into the hand-selected properties later, you'll see these class ratings. And so it's just explained a little bit on this scale here. Obviously, the A class properties are going to appreciate a little bit more quickly. Higher purchase prices and higher tenant quality. You're usually going to see higher rents at the A class level as well. As we slide down to the C class, we're generally going to see more cash flow, but these are also going to be more likely your blue collar, lower income type tenants. Is it a bad thing? No, it's just different. So number 4 on your screen now is, what is your risk tolerance? Some clients don't like to take risk at all, and so we like to gear more towards those A-class properties. Some clients come to us and say, I want to buy as many C-class properties as I possibly can because I want to see as much cash flow as possible. And that's okay too. Different strategy, different expectation, and this is why we have these conversations. So if you want to learn a little bit more about how the rating system works, you can check it out on our website. The property rating ebook was developed by Marshall Reddick Real Estate for our clients based on 30 years of experience working with investors and helping clients to buy and sell properties across the U.S. So that'll give you a little bit of, well, not a little bit, it'll completely explain the methodology behind it, give you references, where the information comes from, and for those who like to read and see the data, it's just about a 20-minute read or so, and will really educate you on the rating system. So now you've been thinking about where you want to invest, you've thought about, you know, what your goals are and what you're hoping to accomplish. So what's next? We set up a consultation with your advisor. Some of you on the call tonight might already be working with another advisor. If you're not, we can set that consultation up between you and myself. And basically what we cover is the who, what, where, when, why, and how of your own personal investment strategy, so that ultimately we can build a plan that helps you achieve your own personal goals. So why is your goal setting? What are you hoping to accomplish? The how is going to cover your financing options. Are you purchasing with your own name? Do you want to do a conventional loan? Can you qualify for such a loan? So we'll talk about your financing options, jump into what your time frame is. Some folks now have already filed their taxes, so they're ready to go. Some folks haven't filed their taxes, so we need to wait until they do so. And that's all going to be part of everyone's individual time frame, and we always want to work with that. Your consultation is no pressure, it's no obligation, and having a conversation with me doesn't mean that I'm going to call you every day until you agree to purchase a property. It's simply to see if it's a good start, if it's a good option for you, and to kind of work from there based on the criteria that we talk about. So heading on from the when is the what. This is where we circle back to the property setting criteria. What are your expectations for the type of property you're going to purchase? And this is going to cover purchase price, location, size, all of those things. And where, of course. Sometimes some of the what criteria is going to determine the market. So if you call me and you say, I'm looking for a duplex priced at about $200,000 to $250,000, and I'm looking for cash on cash return around 5%, then we're going to be looking at the Cape Coral, Florida market. So sometimes your budget criteria can help us determine a market. Other times, some people come and they say, I met Terry, I love her, I want to work with her. And that determines the market that we work in. So all of these things are really going to work together to ensure the right market for your investment goals. And finally, the who. As I mentioned, the who part of this whole operation are your key players to help you complete your real estate transaction. So that starts with your advisor here at Marshall Reddick Real Estate. It's your lender, it's your agent, your insurance provider, all of those people who you need to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So before we bring Terry on here, we're going to go ahead and do a quick poll question for a couple reasons. One, I want to make sure you guys are all still awake and paying attention to me. And two, we want to get a better idea and feel for why you've all decided to join us tonight. So I'll give you guys a couple seconds here. I'm going to launch this poll question and give you guys a couple seconds here to answer that. We won't post the results for anybody to see. We won't let anyone know, who voted for what. It's really just for us to know, and your answers will remain anonymous to the group. So I'll go ahead and give you guys a couple more seconds here. Sometimes I sing the Jeopardy song, but I'm not sure if you guys are up for that tonight. I don't want to hurt anyone's ears. All right, looks like I've got almost everyone still paying attention. I'll give you guys just another couple seconds here so that we can post the results. And 3, 2, 1, time's up. So let's share. What did you guys say? Let's see here. 40% said for the cash flow. I like the way you 40% are thinking. 20% for the appreciation potential. And good job for you guys too, because getting into Cape Coral now means you're ahead of that growth and expansion. Nobody has friends or family there. I can't believe it. Hopefully after tonight, you'll call Terry a friend and everyone will click that one. Next, this was my favorite answer, so I'm really kind of disappointed that not even one person selected it. I threw a dart at the map and hit Florida. I thought that was pretty funny, guys. And finally, 40% said I'm just here to learn. So thank you guys for participating. And now we know why you're here. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Ken and Terry Duffy. They've been our preferred Southwest real estate team for, gosh, going on 15 years now. We've been working with them, helping our clients buy and sell. Those of you who have ever worked with Terry know that you can email her, text her, call her anytime, night and day, and she is like a machine. She's dependable, she's responsive, she's reliable, and this is why we have such a long-standing relationship with her. She's just so good by our clients. She's a dream to work with. And with that, Terry and Ken, I'm going to hand it off to you guys.
Hello to everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Yes, I'm just so adorable. Everybody loves me. Thanks, Christin. Yeah.
I only tell the truth. I'm like George Washington.
Ken, my husband, is actually going to be the one who goes through most of the slides and does all the explaining and stuff because he has a Rolodex memory for everything that's happening in our area. Plus, he's a captain of the fire department here, so he's very in tune to all the building and building codes and everything like that that goes around in here. So he'll start out and go through all the presentation with you and explain all that stuff to you. And then when we get to the properties, I'll kind of step in and go through the properties because that's more of my forte after the fact and getting the contracts and everything together.
All right, so hey everybody. Well, I want to thank you guys for all joining us tonight, taking your time to jump on the webinar. And we're going to go through some slides here and kind of introduce you to Southwest Florida. For those of you who have invested before, you know us. My wife and I, we've been with Reddick and the group of investment brokers out there since 2004. Our focus obviously is real estate agents. Terry, I would say 99.9% of her time is dedicated to working with buyers agents. We really don't dabble much in the general market as far as, selling real estate to some friends and family. But other than that, almost 100% of our time is dedicated to finding buyers cash flow properties down in the Southwest Florida market. Our market is stable. It's very good to growing. A lot of big projects breaking the ground. A lot of corporations are moving down to our area. We're kind of like on the sleepy side of the peninsula of Florida. So on this one slide right here, we got Terry's information and her phone number. We hang our licenses with Weichert Realty, which is out of Cape Coral, and Travis DeSierre is the property manager as well. So we have a good relationship with him and his group to transition your investment property into a property management company that'll take care of you guys from soup to nuts with that. So phone number right there, 499 for the people that don't have it. Just give Terry a shout, shoot her an email, let her know what you want. She's on there every single day, 24/7. We're going out to Lehigh to vet and look at 4 duplexes tomorrow. So hopefully if they're any good, they'll be up on the Marshall Reddick website. So with that, we'll just advance the next slide, Christin, if you would. So this is our market. We've been in real estate since, like I said, 2003, 2004. We moved down to South Florida ourselves from Texas in 2001. So we've been down here. We've lived in the same house for almost 20 years now. Well-versed in the area. We've been running all over this coast looking at real estate pretty much every single day. Like Terry had mentioned, I'm a captain on an engine company down here, so my schedule allows me to go out and do real estate full-time with Terry when I'm not down at the station. So Fort Myers, Cape Coral, and Lehigh, looking at the green inset, those are the MSAs, the market areas that we look for properties in. Right now, Cape Coral's hot, and Lehigh is hot as well with regards to duplexes. Majority of Terry's contract she's writing right now is in duplexes. They have a really good return appreciation-wise, and they're also cash flowing. They got a pretty good cap rate in Cape Coral. Lehigh Acres is a lower price point, and also some really good finds. But it's one of those things you got to go out and fish every single day because there's properties coming on the market and properties going off the market with regards to listings. So Florida gained 327,811 residents in 2017. We're number 3rd in the country with growth. Everyone's moving down to Florida to retire. So what that does is it creates jobs. And jobs creates the opportunity to buy investment properties and put renters in it. So almost all down here are yearly rentals. Florida as a state is a great state to invest in for a couple of good reasons. One is a landlord-friendly state. Unlike California and some other MSAs that Marshall Reddick represents in, you can pretty much get somebody evicted out of your property within 3 weeks, sometimes less than that. Most of the rentals are 1-year leases. That's pretty much what Travis's brokerage deals with, 1-year leases, and that's good cash flow because you got consistent rent for a year. So there's not a lot of turnaround with your property being empty. So next slide, Christin. I'm gonna try and move through these and not get off task. So this is kind of a blown up map of Lee County, Southwest Florida. Upper left, you have Cape Coral. That's a large peninsula, about 150 square miles in yellow. And then across the top to the right-hand side, you've got Lehigh Acres. That's about 115 square miles. It's a bedroom community to Fort Myers. City of Fort Myers is going to be dead center. That's a city, a growing city, very vibrant city. A lot of young families, young people, young professionals moving down to Fort Myers, down on the water in the River District. Just to the right of Fort Myers, you got the RSW Airport, which is currently looking at expansions. Estero, Bonita Springs is where Terry and I live. So from where we live in Estero to drive up to Cape Coral is about a half-hour drive, and you go over a couple of bridges. Sanibel Island is always on the list of the 10 best beaches in the world. They truly have some amazing shell collecting that you can do down there. So our area has got over 80 miles of white sand beaches between Sanibel, Fort Myers, Naples, Bonita Springs, all the way down to Marco Island, if that area rings a bell. So next slide. So Lee County is home to one of the fastest growing populations in the nation. Statistically, we've found that data on a bunch of different websites. You know, Trulia, they're all out there, you know, with all kinds of information for our area. Research projects a 9% increase in the Southwest Florida's 25 to 54 age group by 2020. What that means is we've got a lot of families that are moving into this area. So everybody kind of thought it was just a retirement community. Well, maybe 20 years ago it was, but not now. We've got a lot of young businesses moving down here. IT companies are moving down here. So they're looking for obviously younger people with a lot of education behind them, and the colleges they're just doing great. The colleges are swelling because they're in conjunction with these corporations that are coming down, and they're soliciting you know, workers and their employees out of the local colleges. So young families obviously are moving to Southwest Florida looking for employment. So employment sits below actually unemployment sits below. I meant to fix this when we were out in California. I didn't do that, but unemployment sits below.
Sorry, Ken.
I think I'm just going to leave it there. You know, what the heck, keeps me on my toes. So unemployment down in our.
That way we make sure our clients are paying attention too.
Yeah, there you go. Right. I think everybody. I think the last time we were out.
Last time,
yep,
one person in the meeting.
They got us. So they're on their toes. Make sure no one's sleeping in our meetings. So. Anyway, our unemployment is really good. If you can fog a mirror, you can get a job down here. There's so much work to be had. A lot of businesses are expanding. A lot of corporations are moving in. We've got so many different industries that are expanding down here. Education is probably one of the biggest. It's Lee County School District's one of the largest employers. There'll be a chart coming up next that I'll kind of just show you who the largest employers are in our area. So currently they're building 2 new high schools. And last year, just in Lee County, Southwest Florida, they added 1,000 students were basically injected into the school system from people moving into the area. Lee Health Services, their hospital expansion is going on currently. We have a lot of need for healthcare down here. 2 hospitals are under construction right now. One is in South Lee County. Information technologies, construction, trade, transportation, county infrastructure. All those items highlighted in red are things that are currently going on with roads. They're being expanded all over the place. Lehigh's got a huge road expansion going on out there. Residential and commercial trades are booming, and county infrastructure is really taken off in Cape Coral. They've seen a large number of people move to Cape Coral in the last 2 years. So they're almost up around 200,000 in population and continuing to grow. So the job market is blowing up in Southwest Florida, and it will continue to do that. Cape Coral and the Fort Myers area last year created 4,200 jobs just in those 2 MSAs, just in Cape Coral and Fort Myers. We're not talking about Naples, we're not talking about Estero, we're not talking about Bonita Springs. So a lot of stuff is going on down here. So some of our top employers, starting with the lowest at the bottom, obviously Home Depot, Chico's, Florida Gulf Coast University, which is the college employment, 1,300, 1,350. City of Cape Coral, Lee County Sheriff, Walmart. You know, the employers go on, but these are just some of the big ones in our area. Obviously, down at the bottom, you can see Lee Health is one of the largest with over 13,000, and the Lee County School District is growing right behind them. They're they're looking to add about 100 teachers into the roles to handle the influx of students coming into the area. However, they are kind of behind the 8 ball with building high schools and elementary schools. So they got to build 1 school a year for the next 10 years, whether it's an elementary, middle school, or a high school down here in the area to get the student to teacher ratios where they need to be for the standard in the state. Just some info on Forbes, America's fastest growing cities. Cape Coral, Florida was ranked right at the top with a population growth of 3.39%. Job growth is real good in 16, projected job growth. So you're looking at the job growths in 16 and 17. Wage growth is really huge. We like that. We've seen a huge increase in rents, which means better cash flow for the properties that you guys would be looking to invest in down here. Appreciation is really good. I think we had about 11, just under 11%, or a little over 11%, I'm sorry, last year in the Cape Coral, Fort Myers area with regards to the properties appreciating. And what we're seeing is a lot of job growth, a lot of competition for jobs, so it's driving the wages up. And when the wages go up, obviously the demand for housing with regards to rentals is at a premium. So people who own these properties that are renting are charging higher rents and getting them. So just real good statistics for everything going on down here. So just some photos I'd taken and threw into the PowerPoint. Fort Myers Beach on the right-hand side there, you can see it. That's just the start of the beaches. They go all the way down into the Naples area, and it's like sugar sand, truly. The pictures on the left are actual photos that I took with my camera, and they're white, sandy. The water is turquoise. We have a lot of wildlife that swim around, dolphins. So this is kind of a hot spot. A lot of people vacation down here. Fort Myers last year alone, just into the Fort Myers, Cape Coral area, we saw over 4 million visitors come into our area over the course of the snowbird season, which typically runs between Thanksgiving and Easter. So all the snowbirds haven't totally left yet. It is after Easter, but the weather is still quite cold up there in the north, so they're sticking around. So still got a lot of snowbirds going on down here. So City of Fort Myers, the downtown River District, that area I'd mentioned before, the developers are investing over $500 million in new high-rise condos, shops, and office space down in the River District, which is right along the river down there. Those high-rises that you see in this artist rendering went up during the construction boom, and they've been obviously they're all full now, but they're coming out of the ground with 2 new towers. Residential high-rise towers. They're breaking ground on them this year. They're going to be about, I think, 32 floors, and they're going to be some high-end condos down in the River District. So downtown area is already home to 56 restaurants and plans for a 600-car parking garage. The whole downtown district is a historical district, but what they've done is they've gone in and renovated a lot of the streets, went to a lot of beautification, streetscape projects, adding landscaping. They want to draw a lot of this younger baby boomers and millennials down into this area to live and to work. So that area is really growing very, very nicely. Gartner, this is a big company. They've been here for a while, probably over 10 years. They are in the process now. They broke ground on a new campus right near the airport. They are an information technology company. They're kind of creeping up there as far as one of the top employers. They are looking to add over 2,300 associates by 2022. Currently, Gartner employs more than 1,200 people in Lee County, and they broke ground on the campus right near the airport a couple of months ago. So. Great company to work for. They're kind of like a Google. You can look them up. You can search them on the internet. They're like I said, they teach companies. They help companies do business better with the technology that's out there. So they give them proficiencies on how to do stuff better. And these are just some companies, that are coming into the area. This is another one, the River District. The Luminary Riverfront Hotel broke ground in January of 2018. It's adjoining to the existing Harborside Convention Center. They're just looking to draw more businesses down to the downtown River District area and grow it. They want to see more companies come down and do, you know, big conventions. So this is going to be a high-end boutique hotel, which is going to be right on the river, right on the waterfront. Supposed to have a rooftop bar and all kinds of stuff. I believe this is owned by the Hyatt company or the Hyatt family. So just another big project coming out of the ground. So ALLURE Towers, this is a developer out of Miami. He's in the process now of, I think they're driving pilings in the ground for these 232-story towers right downtown. That blue arrow in the box is kind of where the towers are going to go up. And that whole area you see down there, there's a pink building in the background there. That's the convention center that they're going to add on to. So a good website to visit is myriverdistrict.com. That'll kind of get you into the know of what's going on in Fort Myers. See if it's an area that you guys is a fit for investing. You know, pretty much every contract that Terry writes is cash flowing. We just try to find the right properties. That's the hard part to do because they're on the market and they're off the market real quick. So if she finds something and sends it to you, or if you guys want to look on Realtor.com or any of the other websites, she can look it up and see if it's available based on our MLS down here. A lot of people send us properties and we're like, nope, it's under contract, or it's sold, or it's pending. So if you are interested in the area, get in there, do your homework, start digging into our local market. Realtor.com is a good one. I would use that one if you're going to look into our area, because the Realtor.com is linked up to our property appraisers or our LIPA.org, which is our county website. So when a property goes pending, they pretty much, the two websites communicate with each other. So that's pretty accurate whether or not the property is available. So let's talk a little bit about Lehigh Acres. Lehigh Acres is a whole different animal than Cape Coral. It's a little bit more inland. It's a bedroom community. It's one of the largest residential communities just east of Fort Myers in Lee County. Lehigh Acres is 96 square miles. It's actually a little bit bigger than that. It's a pre-planned residential community growing close to 100,000 residents. It's east of Fort Myers and inland, which means it's a little bit further away from the beaches. Real estate prices are lower and cash flows are higher. That's why a lot of people, they want to invest. They go for the lower price point. They go for the higher cash flows. The appreciation is going to be pretty much the same across the board. We can expect anywhere between 8 and 11% cash flows. That's what we've seen historically over the last 3 years. It is the highest elevation in Lee County, which means there is no flood insurance. When Terry looks for properties, she goes in and digs them and looks into the county websites and makes sure that the houses are not in a flood zone. We try to get these properties that are clean in no flood zones, got good roofs, have a good age. A lot of the homes we try to get are 2000 or newer, and only because the insurance is cheaper on those properties. So she kind of just does all the homework for you to try and get these properties the healthiest that they could possibly be, so that your insurance, all the numbers, all the things that come out of your overhead are the best possible prices that you can get, so that these properties perform well. And then obviously you'll get some appreciation on top of it. So it's done very well. It's located about 40 minutes from the beaches. 15 minutes from the airport. Lehigh Acres is very close to the international airport that we have down here, and its population is growing quite nicely, around 100,000 as of 2017. So it's a great place to invest. A very large area to invest in, so there's a lot of properties to look at. So typical Lehigh Acres current property prices and rents. So I just threw some pictures up here. These are homes that we took photos of probably about a month ago when we came out to California and did our 3-day running around out there. But a single family home in Lehigh Acres, the upper left, it's what a typical single family is going to look like. Starting at around $159, rents for that particular house going to be about $1,300. Then down the lower right, that's what a duplex looks like. Terry had sold one of these duplexes, looks identical to this. In Lehigh Acres, they're anywhere between $210,000 and $225,000. Most of the duplexes are already rented upon contract, so they typically have renters in them. and she can get into that a little bit more or talk to you on the phone at length about that. Sometimes these duplexes have people in them and they're not paying current market rent because they were rented, 6, 8, 10 months ago. So typically they'll have the option to bring their rents up to a current market value, or once their lease runs out, you can get a new tenant in there. So property taxes in Lehigh Acres is about 1.2% of the assessed value. So the assessed value is what?
The contract price.
What was that?
So the contract price.
Okay, or the contract price. So Cape Coral pricing, same kind of slide as Lehigh, only these are single-family homes. Notice the pricing is a little bit higher in Cape Coral. Prices are a little bit more in Cape Coral. There's a lot more commercial development in Cape Coral just because of the higher population. There's a lot more people that move into Cape Coral, predominantly because it's surrounded by water. It's got a lot of navigatable canals through it. A single-family home there starts around $202,000 up to $230,000. Notice the rents are a couple $100 higher than Lehigh Acres, just because that's what the rents are yielding over there in the Cape. So duplex home sites, they're a little bit more expensive, $249,000 as high as $350,000. And the rents per side are between $1,050 and $1,295 per side. So you've got two incomes coming out of one rooftop. And that's kind of what makes duplexes very attractable for the investment side. You've got one mortgage paying you two basically collecting two rents. So that works out very well. Cape Coral's taxes for real estate are about 1.5 to 1.8%. What Terry says, depending on the location, you could have a little variation in that amount. So Cape Coral was named the Waterfront Wonderland. Yes, this city was planned, conceived as a boater's paradise. It's bounded on three sides by water. Cape Coral Real Estate provides access to the Gulf of Mexico. You guys can get on YouTube and just put in Cape Coral, Florida, and there are hundreds and hundreds of videos of what the area looks like. I've only got a few pictures in the slide, but for intensive purposes, if you want to get into it a little bit more, you can just get on YouTube. But basically, you can go next slide, Kristen. But basically, Cape Coral is just a massive peninsula that's got canals. In this picture, you can see that the entire Cape, and this is just the southern part of the Cape, has over 400 miles of boating canals. There's no other landmass area in the United States that is like Cape Coral. The only other area in the world is Naples, Italy, that has navigatable canals. So you can live in your house and have your boat in the backyard, and you can drive your boat and get out into the Gulf of Mexico. Cape Coral's got some other big projects coming up where they're doing some commercial developing where you can take your boat, instead of like driving to a mall, you can drive now to a shopping venue. Bimini Basin is one. So there's the Seven Islands project. These are projects that are coming out of the ground. Large residential, commercial, mixed-use developments that are coming up in the foreseeable future within the next year. So Cape Coral's doing a lot of stuff. It's a very attractable place to invest, and duplexes perform very well in Cape Coral. As of 2017, it's got 186,000 full-time residents. Left side picture is Tarpon Point Marina. There's 2 or 3 marinas of this size down in the southern part of the Cape. The Marina Yacht Club, you pretty much get the picture. If you guys live in Southern California, this is kind of like the Laguna Beach area. It's very desirable down there. The houses, if you live in California, they're pretty affordable down here on the water. So there's a lot of good deals to be had. The main attraction for Cape Coral is this lifestyle and people moving down to the area. Vacations also, the people do a lot of vacations, vacation rentals, and but most of the people are moving to the area, retiring to the area, which is just creating jobs, which is causing a need for housing and rentable properties. And like I said, that's where the Reddick group and you guys come in. It's a good fit. So Florida is also, we have no state income tax, so it's a good place to be as far as that investment wise. So another project, the Village Square downtown Cape Coral. They saw a strong uptick in commercial building sector. The number of commercial building permits issued by the city has increased 183% since 2013, and through 2013 and 2017. So over that 4 years, there's a lot of big commercial building going on to support the residents that are moving into the area. New housing starts were up by 108% over that same 4-year period between 13 and 17. So the downtown village, this typical project is going up. You're going to have 2 residential towers in the back, and they're going to have over 250,000 square feet of commercial space down below. Restaurants, shops, you know, you name it, it's there. And they're also, the residences are going to have parking garages underneath it. So this is a project that's in the books. It's actually in the process of being built in Cape Coral right now. They just completed this. It's a $10 million convention center downtown, down in the southern part of Cape Coral near the Tarpon Point Marina, 35,000 square feet. They connected it to a Westin hotel. In that picture on the left, that used to be a condominium complex, and then the Westin Hotel Corporation, they came in and bought the condo, converted it to a hotel, and then they just recently purchased more land next to the hotel and built a convention center. So it is a destination. I think, Christin, you're staying in that hotel when you guys come down here. So it's a great venue. Yeah, a lot of shopping. You guys are going to love it down there. It's really a nice place. You can pretty much go down there and not have to leave. You can spend a lot of time. You can rent boats out of the marina. You can rent jet skis, paddle boards, kayaks, you name it, you can do it. They've got a couple of restaurants down there right on the water, great seafood restaurants. So it's one of those destination places that all of these companies and hotels are looking to create. Westin just really took advantage of this. When the market had a downturn, they came in and purchased this entire property and turned it into a destination for one of their hotels. So it's done very well. They do a lot of weddings and just great venues down there. So the colleges that we have down here, there's some big players. We've got about 9 colleges in total. 2 of the biggest ones down here that have over 12,000 students enrolled in their roles are Florida Gulf Coast University and Florida Southwestern. Both colleges are huge. They compete. They both have huge nursing programs. So they're constantly adding students to the roles. They're actually having a really hard time with student housing right now. So Florida Gulf Coast University just put in a campus just south of the Gulf Coast University called the Student Village, and it's got over 400 units in it just for student housing, and they got restaurants opening up there to support all the students that are coming to the college campus. They kind of want to keep all the kids on the campus, so they're building places like Skillets restaurants and all those kind of things right on the campus, so the kids have a one-stop shopping and literally don't have to leave the campus. They're turning it like into small little cities. So a lot of other colleges down here, Hodges, just tons of them down here. It's a good place to come down and go to college. It's a quiet, nice area. And Florida just in general has got a huge presence with regards to colleges. You got, UCF, Miami University, Florida State. So it's a great place to come for these kids, and it draws the parents down here. They come down, the kids go to college down here, they look around, and sometimes they buy houses. Here's another building that just opened up about 2 years ago. It's Florida Southwestern. The college basically was a community college, and then they converted to a 4-year college, and now they're adding a sports program. So they just opened up this basketball volleyball stadium, indoor volleyball stadium. It seats about 3,000 people. It pretty much holds different venues throughout the year, concerts and whatnot. It's right downtown in Fort Myers, South Fort Myers, right on the college campus. So it's another big project that just went up. But these are just some of the investments that these colleges are plugging into the area, which means they're planting their feet here, and they continue to they're going to stay for a long time. And things are developing nice, and a lot of things are changing in a positive direction down here. Just another couple of shots. That's FGCU in the upper photo, and then the 2 photos down on the lower, that's the University Village that I told you they had just completed. It's not quite open yet. They're doing a lot of tenant finish and moving in different businesses and restaurants and whatnot, but that's the FGCU campus. The campus itself for Florida Gulf Coast University it's probably it's got to be every bit of 5 to 6, probably 500 to 600 acres. So it's a pretty big campus. I'm saying 5,000 acres. It's pretty big. So Florida's huge on shopping. We've got 3 major venues throughout the area. You got Florida Gulf Coast Town Center. All these shopping venues have over 200 stores in them. They got restaurants, big anchors like Dick's, Bass Pro Shops, you know, your typical Targets. They all have huge movie theaters, bowling alleys, that kind of stuff. Another one that's coming on next is the Southwest Florida, the Miramar Outlet. Miramar Outlet is over probably 250 outlet stores, name brand stuff like Nikes and just anything you can, White House Black Market, you know, you name it, Chico's, they're all in there. They're all outside Mediterranean themed shopping venues, so you can pretty much spend the whole day shopping and get something to eat. So it's a good place, and just a big draw for the area when people come down to visit. They all want to go to Miramar Outlets and spend the day shopping and just, you know, driving more money into our economy. And this one here, Coconut Point Mall. This is a big group out of Minnesota, the Simon Group. They came in, they bought over 300 acres, and they created this huge Coconut Point Mall. It's got a lot of lakes and stuff on it with bridges and different types of shops, and you've got Dillard's and Target and just you know, Best Buy and all that kind of stuff. They just seen the amount of residents that are moving to the area, and you know, once you hit a certain population or they see a growth projection into the future, they're going to come down and grab that market share and put commercial buildings in and start leasing it out to these big companies. And this mall across the street, it used to be a cow pasture when Terry and I moved in 2000, and now it's just a huge place. It's right across the street from where we live, and it's great. Just 2 minutes out the door, and everything you could possibly want is right there, which saves from having to drive around. So that's kind of what's going on in the area. Big population growth. They put up a huge shopping mall, which is good, and we've been seeing steady growth, you know, for the last 7 or 8 years after the downturn in the market. JetBlue is another big thing. We have a large spring training camp down here. We've got two major teams that come into our area, Minnesota Twins and the Boston Red Sox. They're working on the Atlanta Braves now, try to build them a big stadium. The Red Sox Training Center,
in Port Charlotte.
Yeah, it was built 2012. It's a massive facility. It gets used year-round. When spring training happens down here, it just dumps so much revenue into the economy. This venue right here, JetBlue Ballpark, is right near Lehigh Acres and Southwest Florida Airport. So it's strategically placed really nice. They just built a Publix food store up, and they're in the process now of acquiring commercial lands for hotels and you know, like Holiday Inn Expresses, all this stuff. People that come down, they spend 3 to 4 weeks down here for spring training. They watch all the games that go on, and they spend money in the restaurants, and they stay in the hotels. So we knew when JetBlue was built back in 2012 that all the land around it was just going to be developed. It was just a matter of time, and that's currently taking place right now. So once again, it just means jobs, more and more jobs. A lot of work down here, a lot of stuff going on. These are some photos I took not too long ago. The high-rise industry down here is booming again. We've got many buildings going up in our area. Some of these buildings I took photos of are where I work in Naples, and they're just massive condos that are going up, 20 and 25 and 30-story condos. Some of these condos, you know, start in the $1 million and they go as high as $4 million. Just kind of want to throw it out there and just show you what's kind of going on down in the area. If these big developers are coming back in and they're willing to lay the money down on the ground, we know that we're in a trending pattern in the right direction. So Hertz moved down here in 2015. This campus they built was right across the street from where we live in Lee County on another huge, basically a pasture. It was about 175 acres. They built a brand new facility, and they moved their entire corporate headquarters from New Jersey down here. When they moved down, they were looking to add over 1,700 new jobs. I don't know what they're up to right now, but they're consistently adding people to their roles and ranks, and the campus is in the process of doing another expansion. So they were really nice to bring Hertz down here. The Lee County, you know, corporate incentive plans that they give these big corporations. I think they told these guys they didn't have to pay property tax for 10 years if they moved down here. So they made a big investment, and that's kind of what Lee County's doing. They're drawing corporations down here, and it's just drawing a lot of youth and younger people into the area, which is just really healthy for the economy. So our airport, it's kind of a funny story. When we moved here, it was an old, really kind of small airport. When we come to California, we always fly into John Wayne Airport, and it's John Wayne is kind of a small airport. That's kind of what our old airport used to be like. Well, when they said, you know what, we can do one of two things. We can renovate the existing airport or just build a brand new airport across the runway, and that's what they did. So they built Southwest Florida Airport, you know, back in 2005, and then they shut the old airport down and moved everything across the runway into this new facility. Well, since then, since 2005 to today, currently, they're looking to expand the entire airport to double its size with regards to gates. They're looking to add another runway, another north-south runway. They've got a grant from the federal government to build a new control tower. So they're in the process of getting everything fired up and permits for that. So we see nearly 5 million annual passengers locally coming through the airport, approximately 23,000 daily passengers a day. It's probably a little more than 217 flights per day going out of the airport. So the big thing is the economic impact to our local economy last year was $4.3 billion annually. So we see a lot of stuff coming through this airport. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, those airports are landlocked. They don't have any more land to expand. So they're looking to expand this airport in a tremendous way, almost twofold, because they are looking to bring commercial flights in for freight, FedEx, UPS, DHL, all those. They're saying now that it's cheaper for them to invest into this airport, expand the runways, expand the gates, expand the freight, so that they don't have to drive all these goods across from Miami to the Southwest Florida area. So this airport's seeing a huge explosion in development. So we have a detailed market data packet. I think the best data packet is probably just getting on the phone with Cole and Terry. If there's anything that you guys need with regards to data, we have a couple other websites. CapeCoral.net is another good website if you got a pen handy. Or just speak it into your phone, put it in your notes, CapeCoral.net, and Lee County Economic Development. That's LeeCountyEconomicDevelopment.com is another one that really gets into some data-driven material for what's going on in our area with regards to employment, demographics, you name it, from crime to everything that you could possibly want. There's plenty of drop-down boxes for anything that you need. It's very current down there in that website, so that's another good place to go to. So, for information in our area.
And I'm just going to piggyback on that really quick, Ken. For those of you on the line, the data packet that we've compiled and put on the website has information that's drawn from multiple different websites and just put into a nice user-friendly packet for you to kind of skim through, get some hard figures and data on the area. Like Ken mentioned, there's also the county websites and the other links that you guys can visit as well. So as far as where you can find the information, it's really easy to just Google and find all kinds of information. The county websites are obviously going to be much more accurate. And when we follow up via email and telephone call, Terry and I, of course, would be happy to provide you with the web links to all of those sites so that if you do want to do your own due diligence, which of course we encourage, you have access to all of that information. So on to the main event. I hope you guys are ready for some hand-selected properties from our very Terry Duffy herself. And Terry, we'll go ahead and jump right in.
All right. We decided to showcase 3 of the Lehigh Acres duplexes on here, and then there'll be one from Cape Coral. We definitely have tended to concentrate heavily on Lehigh because of the cash flow. And, you know, I guess it's probably maybe a 80-20 split of the investors who like to focus more on cash flow, and we are going to get that in Lehigh strictly because the price point is, you know what, like about $80,000 less in Lehigh than it is in Cape Coral. And I will tell you something, those of you who are, you know, like Google fanatics, if you Google Lehigh Acres, a lot of people call me, they'll be like, oh, Terry, my gosh, it just looks so rural, there's nothing there. It's not true. It's just that Lehigh Acres is such a huge landmass, and when you Google it, there is a lot of vacant land, and that's not a bad thing because you got to look at that as that's all future growth. So, and if you actually come to town and you drive through and you look, I mean, there's businesses everywhere, and there's construction everywhere, and there's obviously, you know, residential everywhere. So it's a great place. It is a great place to invest for the cash flow. This is a typical duplex in Lehigh. This one, if you look down, the price is what, $199.9. I gotta get this out of the way. These just go through and it shows you what the gross rent. This could rent for $1,000 a month. I think what happens in our area is almost 99% of the resale properties are not at current market value rents. It just doesn't happen. When these sellers that own these properties have owned them, you know, normally for several years, and so they bought them at a lower price, and so they've kept the rents lower, and when they decide to sell, they never raise the rents when they've made the decision to sell because they leave them low. That way the new owner can negotiate their own rents, which our property management company is very strong at getting, you know, current market value. So down here where, and all the verbiage at the bottom, normally I will put in there if I have gotten the current rents from the listing agent, and if they're lower, I'll list them down here for you, and I'll list when the leases expire and stuff like that. I try to get as much information as I possibly can. But the rents up here, the $2,000, if they're not at the $1,000 per side, that's what they can be raised to at the, you know, the next lease when the lease expires, and they can go in there and renegotiate it. The taxes, I get the taxes right off of our county website. So those are normally pretty accurate. The insurance, I send all the properties to the insurance companies, and I have them give me a quote. The insurance will vary though, because when we set you up with them, I'll connect you with the insurance companies. You can use your own if you want, by all means, but I've got two really great companies down here that seem to give us the lowest rents or the lowest insurance quotes. But a lot of it, they'll come in and they'll talk to you personally, and there's discounts for age, credit, you know, scores, all kinds of different things. So that can fluctuate up or down, whichever. We stay away from HOA fees. I think in the past 4 years, I've only done one property that had an HOA fee, and it was like $20 a month or something like that, and the property still cash flowed. The management fee, this is from our property management. They give the Marshall Reddick Group 8% is our rate. Normally, it's 10% to 13% in our area. The normal for our company is 10%, so that's the discount just because we're with Marshall Reddick. So you can kind of follow this all the way down, and this would be, you know, you can see what the monthly income would be. If you go down a little further, the Marshall Reddick estimates what the maintenance is going to be, and they also go down to the vacancy. You will see here they have us at a vacancy rate of about 10%. For our area, we are an exception. All of Lee County, the vacancy rate is at 4%. With our property management company, our vacancy rate is at 2%. We have a really strong rental market. We have a really strong, aggressive rental company that we deal with. Our average renters stay for 4 years. We obviously, you do have people that move out after a year, you know, for different reasons, but we've got tenants that have been in there 10, 15, some 21 years in the same properties. So we're very strong. And when you go on the Marshall Reddick website, I know you can click on, there's a lot of like little dots and arrows and stuff you can click on, and you can reduce this to the, you know, the 2%, and you can even be conservative and put it 4% if you want, just to see, and then it'll show you what your actual monthly income will be. And it's normally going to be a lot higher just because of our vacancy rate. Also, the one thing I wanted to mention, Christin talked about at the beginning, the property class ratings are based on the median sales price of property in the area. So because Florida is a very desirable area. If you compare it to, you know, Memphis, Tennessee, or something like that, our prices are going to be higher for our medium price sales. So a property in our area that it will be a C class would be a B or an A class in another area. It's very rare that you are going to see an A class property on my Fort Myers on the website with Marshall Reddick, because the only properties that will be considered A class in my area have to be brand new. And that's strictly because of price point. It's not because of the property condition. So I just wanted to mention that. Okay, so this one here, this one doesn't have garages. Garages, not sometimes, I mean, it's not really a big thing. We have, it's probably a 50-50 split. Half of ours have garages, half of them don't. How do you go to the next one, Kristen? Okay, this is another one. Now this is your basic. This has got, I think, a 2-bed, 2-bath plus dens in them. A lot of the duplexes in Lehigh Acres, they'll either be 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, or they'll be 2 bedroom, 2 bath, but they'll have dens. And if they have dens, those dens are normally used for a 3rd bedroom. This one here, I know one of the units was just recently completely renovated, and they both have new leases, I believe, at $1,000 a month. So that goes up until next year. So just gives you another idea. If you go on the website, you can see all the inside pictures of these. This one's a little bit higher, 207. Most of the prices in our area are, you know, over 200,000 all the way up into the 250s. I try to stay away from those. If we happen to get, you know, anything that comes in that's under 200,000, it's a really good deal in our area. So you could just kind of follow this down like I walked you through the last one, what the gross rents would be. This property here, actually, the market value of this could be $1,025 to $1,050 per unit with our property management company. The current owner manages this himself, and he did the leases at $1,000. We could have actually got more, so now we'll have to wait and look. But once the leases come to expiration date, we'll just raise those up, probably to $1,050 by that time, because these go, you know, kind of through the end of the month. But you can look down here, still monthly income $760. The cash on cash returns on these properties are very strong. The ROI, you know, over 17%. This is a great little duplex. I think a lot of people look at this and they may think it's a little bit older, but I have been in this duplex. I've been in this unit right here, and it's actually pristine on the inside. I met the owner or the tenant. It's a woman probably in her 60s that her little grandson that lives with her. The place is immaculate. This property here, the one thing you guys I need to tell you is Lehigh Acres is about 90% on well and septic for water and sewer, where Cape Coral is about 50%. That has a lot to do with the price difference. The city of Cape Coral has started in the south, and they're, you know, working their way through the city and putting in city utilities. But when they get to your door, they knock on your door. They say, hey, Mr. Smith, we're going to put in your city utilities, and then we're going to assess you with a utility assessment of about $25,000 to $30,000. As an owner, you have no choice in the matter, because that's what the city's doing. Before they were letting you split it up within, I think, about 10 years. You could divide it into your taxes. They're working on different ways to handle this these days. I'm not real sure, because every time we hear something on the news, it's kind of going back and forth. But that's another reason why the properties in Cape Coral are more expensive, is because I try to find properties that are already on city utilities with all those assessments already paid. So if they're already paid, you're going to pay more for the property. In Lehigh Acres, you're on well and septic. It's not a negative thing. The tenants love it because they don't have a water bill, because their water comes out of the well. As an owner, you've got a septic system, you've got, you know, a water system that have a little bit extra maintenance, but it's not a lot, so it's not a big thing, and it's very common. This particular property here is on city water, so it just has the well for the septic, or septic system for the sewer. Excuse me. But this is a great price for this. If you look at the monthly income, it's over $800 a month for the monthly income. And these rents are right now are low, just because the lady that I met here, she's been there for a long time. So they haven't raised the rent a lot, probably because she takes such good care of the property. And a lot of find a lot of the sellers do that with long-term tenants. But the ROI is still over, almost 15.5%. It's a great little property. It's in a great location. Leonard Boulevard is very accessible to, going to the airport, getting onto the main highway that goes into Fort Myers or down to Naples or over the bridge to Cape Coral. So it's in a great location. This is a brand new build in Cape Coral. There's a lot of duplexes for sale in Cape Coral, but what we have found is the brand new duplexes, even though they're a higher priced, they are the ones that will cash flow the best because the maintenance is low. You've got the builder's warranty, and the insurance is low. So that takes a lot out of the budget. Whereas there's a lot of stuff in Cape Coral that are in the, the 249, 250, 60, 70s, 80s. They're going to be older duplexes. So they're going to need some, obviously some maintenance done on them. The insurance is going to be higher and all that kind of stuff. So in I think we've got 2 of these new builds on the market right now. These are on the MLS. This exact same duplex, a couple different people are selling them. But this is the lowest price one at the $319 mark, and the exact same one, there's 2 of them on the MLS for $329. So, excuse me, I try to pick out, obviously, the best priced ones that will cash flow the best for the Marshall Reddick Group. And that's kind of a basic idea. I chose to put all the duplexes on this website and not really any single family homes, because right now the duplexes are what cash flow the best. Single family homes are not cash flowing as well because tenants can rent a 1,200 square foot duplex, in Lehigh for $1,050. If they go to a single family home that's 1,200 square feet, the rent's going to be higher, and they're going to have a higher maintenance on that house also, just living there and keeping there. So it's just we have a much stronger rental demand for duplexes right now in multifamily homes. This is our property management. This is Travis Desir and his wife Kim. Kim is she runs the office basically. Travis is a big numbers guy. They're a very young couple, but they have 7 children, which is amazing. And they range from ages 2 months to 14 years old. But they run a very, very aggressive, but very honest property management company. They've got 4 full-time property management reps, and Travis is in the process of hiring more. Plus, he's got a whole staff of real estate agents also. I am strictly 100%. All I do is a buyer's agent for the Marshall Reddick Group. Travis, normally when you're going to contract on a property, I put you in touch so you have a conversation with Travis so you can get all of your property management questions answered firsthand from him. Everybody that is, that we work with has his cell phone, so he's very accessible. They have an online portal, so when you sign up with them, you have your own portal that you go on to, and everything that is occurring in your account, you can see right there. So if you have any questions, or anything like that, then you contact Kim and ask her whatever you need to know about the financials. These are there's a lot of stuff in here about them that we don't have to really go into. It's just, everything that they do. Everything that, like Kenny had talked about, everything's a year lease. They don't really do short-term leases because you make more money with the long-term leases. If you decide for whatever reason that you do not like their services, they do not charge any cancellation fees, and they're, I think, one of the few in our area that doesn't charge a fee to cancel. You give them a 30-day notice, and that's it. Because if you're not happy, they're not happy. So they just kind of move on. They give us special deals. I said, we only get charged 8% leasing fee. When they place a new tenant, they charge 50% of the first month's rent. Most companies charge a whole month's rent. If there's already tenants in place, obviously you're not charged anything.
And I do want to point out really quickly that you only pay your management fee of 8% per month when your property is rented. So, you know, a lot of clients that I speak to are a little bit leery of management companies and, you know, having somebody else take care of their property. As I mentioned, as an investor myself, Travis's team has managed my own properties. They really do a great job. They offer a lot of incentives for Marshall Reddick clients, and not paying a management fee when your property is vacant is really a benefit to you, because it really incentivizes the management team to get your property leased as quickly as possible, because if you are not making money, then they are not making money. And so really, you know, everyone's on the same page to make sure that your property is rented, because we want you to be successful as well.
And most of our, I will tell you, our properties get rented normally in less than 30 days. Every single new build duplex that we've contracted on in Cape Coral, and I think we've done like 8 of them, has been rented within a week of closing on the property. If we contract on a property that is vacant, it's the same thing. I mean, because they have a waiting list of tenants to go into these properties. And most of them are in line because they want to rent a duplex. So it's very strong.
All right, so guys, we're going to go ahead and try to wrap it up. It's 7:48. We usually like to keep these webinars to an hour, but it's such an exciting market with so much going on, it's very hard to do that recently. So we're going to go ahead and do a second poll question. So we can kind of get an idea for what you guys were interested in. And this is so that we can try to tailor our property selections moving forward to make sure that we're really presenting the types of properties that our clients want to see. So tonight we did focus on the duplex inventory that's available. That is the most popular product, if you will, in this market, and Terry, it is one of the best, if not the best, for multi-unit inventory because of the high demand on the rental side and because of the availability. So I'll give you guys just a couple more seconds to answer. I think we've lost just a couple of viewers too, as we're getting a little bit over our time limit, but we will be following up with everybody, and these presentations are recorded. So for those of you who need to hop off or already left, you can watch it at a later time. So I'll give you guys just another couple seconds to answer, and let's go ahead and close this out in 3, 2, 1, and done. And let's see what you guys said. 33% liked the 29th Street duplex. Really good returns, good numbers on that one, not surprising. 0% for the middle 3. Terry, I'm shocked. The ones with the garages and the driveways. I don't know you people out there we're looking at, but I'm very interested to find out why people selected these particular properties. And 67% said they'd like to see additional inventory. So we can definitely get on that. As Ken mentioned earlier, Terry does vet and hand select all of the properties that are put on the website. So she makes sure they're not in flood zones. She makes sure completely dilapidated and haven't been maintenance deferred for 10 years. So she really does a good job to vet the properties and make sure that they're the type, quality, condition, location, all of those things that make a good rental. Because if you get a property that doesn't fit those criteria, it could go poorly for you, and we want to make sure that that doesn't happen.
All right, for those of you who want to see more inventory, we're headed out to Lehigh tomorrow morning to look at 4 more duplexes. So if I like them, they'll be on the website tomorrow afternoon.
Thanks, Terry. You'll be able to see those properties as soon as they hit the website. If you have yourselves set up on any kind of search or reminders, you can make sure to check the website later this week. If you want to connect with us on social media, we're on about every platform imaginable, maybe even in addition to what's on the screen. You can also connect with Terry and I directly via telephone or email. You saw her contact information earlier. Mine's going to be coming up on the next slide. This is just a little reminder of what you can expect when you have your consultation. So for those of you who don't have an advisor yet, you're able to set that consultation up with and discuss your goals for investing. If there was a property that you're interested in or you'd like to connect with Terry, that's where I come in, and that is what my role is here as we follow up from this webinar presentation. I'm happy to make those connections and make sure that we're really working with you to accomplish your strategy on your timeline. And finally, here's my personal contact information. If you don't want to go through the Marshall Reddick website and request a consultation, you can reach out to me directly. My office line is 949-885-5162, and you'll reach me directly. I've given you the opportunity to circumvent the gatekeeper, so there you go. And also my email address is down here, ctabar@marshallreddick.com, so you can reach me directly. You can also reach Terry directly. If you didn't write her information down earlier on her slide, I'm happy to make that email connection again, as I mentioned, so that we can get you in touch with Terry and start looking at property. And I want to thank you guys all for joining us. We usually will spend some time on Q&A here, but since we're down to the wire and it's almost 8 o'clock, almost 11 o'clock Eastern time, I want to go ahead and let you guys hop off. So please don't hesitate to call or email me or Terry with any additional questions, any information that you want. And again, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Terry, Ken, really appreciate you guys and appreciate you spending your night with us, telling us about the market. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Have a good night, guys.
Y'all too.